The world is full of chasers. They chase power, they chase respect, they chase money, they chase approval. And they never stop. They think the answer to their misery is somewhere out there, waiting for them to find it. But there's one thing those chasers will never understand: chasing makes you weak. Chasing is a sign that you don't believe you deserve what you're after. It means you're still begging for something. It means you don't have the courage to take what you want. The world doesn't hand you anything. It doesn't care how much you run after it. And no matter how hard you chase, the world will always be one step ahead. Legends don't chase. Legends create. They don't wait for something to come to them. They don't beg for a seat at the table. They build the table. They don't ask for respect. They take it. They don't chase power. They carve it out of the darkness and make it their own. Chasing tells the world you're desperate. You're in need. You're not in control. And once you show the world that, you've already lost. They'll see it, and they'll use it against you. Every move you make, every decision you take, they'll know exactly how to exploit it. They'll know exactly how to break you. That's why the chaser never wins. He's always running behind something he can't reach. And every time he gets close, it moves further away. His life is spent in pursuit, and in the end, when he dies, no one remembers the chase. All they see is a man who ran his entire life and ended up where he started, empty, exhausted, and forgotten. The only way to be remembered is to stop chasing. You don't chase anything. You create, you build, you rise, you move without hesitation, without looking over your shoulder, without asking for permission. You create your empire from nothing. You don't follow someone else's path. You carve your own. You don't wait for approval. You don't wait for the world to decide you're worthy. You decide. You act. A legend doesn't chase because a legend doesn't need to. He knows that the world is his to shape, and if anyone wants what he's built, they'll come to him. He's already set the terms. He's already claimed his spot at the top. He's not out there running after something he doesn't deserve. He already has everything. The world isn't a place for chasers. It's a place for creators. And only the ones who understand that, only the ones who stop begging and start building, will ever be remembered. The rest, they're forgotten, lost in the chase, and no one even remembers what they were running after. Power doesn't appear out of nowhere. It doesn't fall into your lap because you prayed for it or begged for it. Power is never found. It's forged. It's built, slowly and ruthlessly, from the ground up. Most men spend their lives chasing power, running from one source to the next, looking for shortcuts, trying to find the key that will unlock their success. They beg for the right connections, the right title, the right moment. They're like dogs running after scraps, waiting for someone to throw them a bone. But the truth is, power doesn't come from others. It comes from within. The legend knows that power is a construct, a machine you have to build with your own hands. You don't wait for it to show up. You create it. You work for it. You grind for it until every single move you make exudes control. And everyone who sees you knows that you're the one in charge. Real power is quiet. It's not in the flashy things, the accolades, the applause. It's in the way you move, the way you carry yourself, the way you work when no one is watching. Power is in your silence. It's in your discipline. It's in your ability to stay focused while the world crumbles around you. It takes years to build, years of sacrifice, years of silence, years of working harder than anyone else in the room. Power doesn't respect laziness, doesn't respect shortcuts. It only respects those who are willing to bleed for it. It demands sacrifice. The moment you take a shortcut, the moment you stop pushing, the moment you wait for someone to hand you something, that's the moment you lose. Power can only be built when you're relentless, when you're patient, when you never stop. It's the men who build their power brick by brick, who never stop no matter how tired they are, who see the finish line but keep running. Those are the men who command respect, who shape the world to their will. Because they've built it, they've earned it. They don't need permission to take it. The world will try to make you think that power is given, that it's handed to the right people, that some are born with it. That's the lie that most men believe, and it's the reason they'll never be legends. They wait for power to find them. They wait for someone to recognize them. But the savage doesn't wait. He doesn't ask for it. He takes it. And he keeps taking it until the world has no choice but to give him the respect he's already built. Power is not found. It's built. Every choice, every sacrifice, every sleepless night, every tear, those are the foundations. You build your power, and once you have it, no one can take it from you. Chasing comes with a price. You might think it's worth it. Chasing after power, after fame, after approval. But you're paying more than you know. And in the end, it costs you more than you can afford. When you chase, you become desperate. You stretch yourself too thin, spreading your energy across every opportunity, every person, every fleeting moment. You're constantly running after what you think will make you stronger, smarter, better. But what you're really doing is weakening yourself with every step you take. Chasing power, chasing respect, chasing approval. It all makes you a slave. You're chasing things that are out of your control, waiting for someone else to determine your worth. Every time you look to someone else for validation, you've already given up your power. You've handed it over and said, "Here, take it. Tell me what to do next." But the problem with chasing is simple. It doesn't lead you to anything. It keeps you running in circles, going faster and faster, but never getting anywhere. You exhaust yourself, wear yourself down, and still you're no closer to the empire you want to build. You end up empty, wondering why you spent so much time and energy for nothing but empty promises and missed opportunities. The worst part of chasing, you never stop. Once you start running, you can't turn back. The need to be noticed, to be heard, to be validated, it takes over. You start chasing more things, and the chase becomes your life. You stop living for yourself and start living for the approval of others. And when you live like that, you're already defeated. A man who chases has no real direction. He reacts to the world around him, rather than creating his own path. He's constantly looking for something outside of himself to fill the void, never realizing that the only thing he needs to build is right in front of him. When you chase, you give away your power. You give up your control. You turn yourself into a puppet, waiting for someone to pull the strings. But when you stop chasing and start creating, you take control. You decide your path, your future, your legacy. You no longer wait for approval. You take it. You create your empire, brick by brick, with no one's help but your own. Chasing is for the weak, for the desperate, for the men who think they need someone else to validate their existence. But the truth is, the cost of chasing is everything. It drains your soul, your focus, and your time. And in the end, when you finally stop to rest, you'll find yourself right where you started, empty, tired, and still without the power you sought. Stop chasing. Start creating. And when the world sees you, it won't be because you begged for attention. It'll be because you built your empire with your own hands. And no one can take that away from you. Creation isn't peaceful. It's a war. It's a battle with the world, with your own demons, with every obstacle that gets in your way. You don't build an empire by waiting for things to fall into place. You build it by fighting for every inch, by making sacrifices, by working when no one else will, and by standing alone when the world tells you to kneel. Creation isn't a smooth road, it's a battlefield. And the moment you decide to build, the moment you decide to carve your own path, you declare war on everything that doesn't belong in your future. You declare war on distractions, on doubts, on the ones who tell you it can't be done. You declare war on your own weakness. War doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't care about your comfort. It doesn't care if you're tired. It only cares about victory. And that's what creation is. It's war for what you want, for what you believe is yours, for the future you deserve. The weak will fall in this war. They'll crumble under pressure, bend under the weight of fear, give in to the voices telling them to stop. But the savage, the one who builds with fire in his veins, he fights. He fights in silence. He fights through pain. He fights when everyone else has given up. And when the dust settles, it's not the weak who stand victorious. It's the one who never stopped fighting, who never stopped building, who never hesitated to declare war on his own limitations. No one hands you power. No one hands you greatness. You don't get a crown by being nice, by being easy, by being comfortable. You get a crown by fighting for it, by taking it, by ripping it from the hands of the world and making it your own. That's creation. That's war. When you build, you fight. You fight to get up when you're knocked down. You fight to stay focused when the world tries to pull you in 1,000 directions. You fight against your own doubts, your own fear, and your own weakness. And each time you win, even by the smallest margin, you build a little more of your empire. But you're never truly finished. Creation is an ongoing war. There are always new challenges, new obstacles, new enemies. It's not a single battle. It's a war that never ends, a war that makes you stronger with every fight, with every victory, with every scar. And the longer you fight, the more you build. The more you build, the more unstoppable you become. Don't fool yourself into thinking creation is easy. It's not. It's ruthless. It's cold. It's full of sacrifice. It's full of nights where you wonder if it's all worth it. But the answer is always the same. It's worth it. Because the world respects power. It respects strength. It respects the ones who fought for their empire, not the ones who waited for it to fall into their lap. In this war, there are no rules, no limits, no handouts. There is only one thing that matters: victory. And if you want to create, if you want to build something that lasts, you'll have to fight for it every day. So stop waiting for permission. Stop looking for the easy way out. Creation is war. And if you want to be remembered, you need to fight like a savage. If you're chasing approval, you're already dead. The moment you start looking for validation from others, you've given up your power. You're handing control over to someone else, letting them dictate your worth. And that's the first step to failure. Approval is a trap, a lie. It's for the weak, the ones who aren't sure of themselves, the ones who need someone to tell them they're doing it right, the ones who need to hear the world tell them, you're worthy. But the moment you start living for someone else's approval, you're no longer living for yourself. You're living for them. And the moment you live for others, you stop building. You stop creating. You stop moving forward. Legends don't wait for approval. They don't ask for permission. They don't need a pat on the back to keep moving. Legends know who they are. They don't need anyone to tell them what they're worth, because they already know. They don't chase praise. They chase results. They chase their own vision. They don't need anyone to recognize them. They carve their path, and the world follows. When you chase approval, you make yourself weak. You let others set the terms of your success. You let them determine whether or not you're good enough, whether you've done enough. You start living in fear, fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of being judged. And that fear cripples you. It makes you hesitant. It makes you slow. It makes you second guess yourself. And that's the moment you lose. The world doesn't respect beggars. It doesn't respect those who wait for validation. The world respects the ones who create their own path, who build their empire without needing anyone to approve of it. It respects the ones who walk into a room and take what they want, who don't ask for permission, who don't waste time begging for approval. They take it because they know they deserve it. If you want to be a legend, stop chasing approval. Stop needing the world to recognize you. Because no one will give you what you deserve until you give it to yourself first. When you create on your own terms, when you walk with your head held high, when you refuse to beg for respect, that's when the world notices. That's when the world has no choice but to bow. Legends don't chase approval. They earn it. And they earn it through action. through power, through the empire they build, while others are still waiting for someone to tell them they're good enough. So stop begging for approval. Stop asking for validation. Start building. And when the empire stands, when the power is yours, you won't need anyone's approval to know you've made it. Begging is a weakness you can't afford. Legends don't beg. They don't ask for favors. They don't plead for respect. And they sure as hell don't waste time trying to get anyone's approval. Begging is for the desperate. It's for the men who don't have the courage to take what they want. Legends take what's theirs. When you beg, you show the world that you're not in control. You show that you're waiting for someone else to decide your worth. You give your power away, and once it's gone, you'll never get it back. But legends, they don't wait. They don't ask. They don't beg. They take. They command. When a legend walks into a room, the room changes. He doesn't need to ask for attention. He doesn't need to explain his worth. He makes everyone in that room see it. And if they don't, he forces them to. You think people respect the ones who beg. You think they admire the ones who run around pleading for validation. No, they pity them. They see them as weak, as desperate. And when you show the world that you're desperate for their approval, you're handing them the power to break you. The world respects one thing: strength. True strength is commanding the room without uttering a single word. It's making your presence felt with every step you take. Legends don't beg for respect. They make respect a byproduct of their actions. They command it through their work, through their results, through the sheer force of their will. They don't ask for anyone to give them anything. They take what they deserve. They demand it. And when they demand it, they get it. When you beg, you play by someone else's rules. You let them set the terms of the game. But when you command, you set the terms. You define the rules. You make the world bend to your will, not the other way around. So stop begging. Stop pleading. Stop wasting time on people who don't see your value. You don't need them. You don't need anyone to recognize your worth. You create your own worth. You take what is yours. You demand the respect you've earned. And you don't settle for anything less. When you command, the world listens. When you beg, the world walks all over you. It's your choice. You either build your empire on your terms, or you let someone else build it for you. And trust me, when someone else builds your empire, they own it. Legends don't beg. They command. They make the world kneel before them. They shape their destiny with their own hands. And when the dust settles, they stand alone at the top, unshaken, unbroken, and in control. The mind of a creator is not like the mind of a follower. It's not passive. It's not about reacting to the world. It's about making the world react to you. The creator isn't waiting for life to unfold. He's shaping it, molding it, bending it to his will. A creator doesn't ask for permission. He doesn't wait for signs. He moves relentlessly, without hesitation, until the world is forced to recognize what he's building. Creating isn't easy. It's the hardest thing you'll ever do. It's war, it's struggle, it's sacrifice. It's days when you're at the edge of breaking, when everything seems stacked against you, and when you feel like no one is watching. But that's when the creator thrives. When the world turns its back, the creator pushes harder. When others give up, the creator digs deeper. When they fold under pressure, the creator becomes the pressure. It's not about having grand ideas. It's about having the strength to execute them. It's not enough to dream. Anyone can dream. But not everyone has the guts to get up and fight for that dream. The creator fights. He fights every day, with every decision, with every step forward. The creator knows the fight doesn't end. There is no finish line. There's just the constant march towards something greater. And the deeper you go into the fight, the more unrelenting you become. To be a creator, you must think differently. You can't afford to be distracted by the opinions of others, by what they think of your methods or your mission. The creator's mindset is about seeing the world not as it is, but as it could be. The weak see obstacles, the strong see opportunities. The creator doesn't let failure stop him. He uses it to fuel his next move. Every failure is just a lesson in disguise, a signpost pointing towards the way forward. You have to remove emotion from the equation. Emotions cloud judgment. They make you hesitate. They make you second-guess yourself. A creator doesn't hesitate. He doesn't sit around questioning every choice he makes. He trusts himself. He trusts his vision. And when the world tries to tear him down, he holds steady, knowing that his vision is the only one that matters. The creator sees everything as raw material. The world doesn't give him what he wants, so he takes it. The failures he faces become stepping stones. The people who doubt him become fuel for his fire. Every piece of criticism, every setback, every moment of loneliness, it's all just part of the process. It's all part of the grind that makes him stronger, more focused, more determined. A creator doesn't ask for permission to be great. He doesn't wait for the world to tell him he's ready. He knows that greatness is built, not granted. He knows it's not about luck, it's about work. Relentless, unforgiving, obsessive work. And when he's deep in the trenches, when the world is telling him to stop, he pushes harder. Because the creator knows one thing the chaser never learns: the only way to create your empire is to refuse to stop. The world will tell you to give up. It will tell you your dream is impossible. It will tell you that you're too small, too weak, too late. But the creator knows better. The creator knows that all those no's are just fuel. The creator knows that no one who's ever changed the world did it by following the rules. So when you create, don't just think about the end goal. Think about the mindset you need to get there. The resilience, the focus, the drive. The mindset of a creator is the mindset of a man who refuses to stop, refuses to bend, and refuses to be controlled. It's the mindset that builds empires from nothing. Because in the end, legends don't ask for permission. They create what no one else can. Creation isn't loud. It's not filled with applause, cheers, or empty praise. True creation happens in silence. It's built in the quiet hours when no one is watching, when no one is applauding. The world doesn't hear the grind, the struggle, the work. It only sees the result. And by then, it's too late for anyone to stop you. Silence is where the savage works. While others are chasing recognition, while they're begging for attention, the creator stays in the shadows, focused, relentless, building. He doesn't need anyone to tell him he's on the right path. He doesn't need confirmation. He doesn't care if anyone is watching. His work is his reward. His vision is his fuel. His silence is his power. The loudest men in the room are the weakest. They shout for attention, for validation, for respect. But they don't have to scream because they're already powerful. Power speaks in silence. When you walk into a room and the energy shifts, not because of what you said, but because of who you are. People know you're not to be taken lightly. Silence isn't weakness. It's the ultimate weapon. It's the calm before the storm. The monster doesn't need to explain himself. He doesn't need to argue. He doesn't need to beg for recognition. He moves without hesitation, without explanation, without anyone understanding his next move. And that's why people fear him. They can't predict him. They can't stop him. They don't even know he's coming until it's too late. While they waste time chasing approval, the creator is building an empire. While they spend their energy talking, he's making things happen. While they scream for attention, the creator stays quiet and lets his work speak for itself. Silence is where the true builders live. They're not concerned with what anyone thinks. They're concerned with what they're creating. The savage knows the power of silence. He knows that the real work doesn't happen when the world is watching. It happens when no one is there. It happens in the dead of night, when the distractions are gone, when it's just him, his thoughts, and his drive. That's where he builds. That's where empires are born. The rest of the world is too busy talking to even notice. By the time they do, it's too late. The creator has already built something untouchable, something no one can tear down. Because when you build in silence, When you work in the shadows, no one sees the foundation until the empire is already standing tall. So, let them talk. Let them scream. Let them beg for attention. You don't need any of that. You build in silence, in shadows, in the dark. And when the world finally sees what you've built, it won't matter if they understand it. It won't matter if they approve, because you'll already be standing at the top, untouchable, unbreakable, and beyond their reach. Creation is about more than just the here and now. It's about the legacy you leave behind. The empire you build today is the foundation for the world that will remember you tomorrow. You don't create for applause. You don't create for recognition. You create because your name, your story, your empire will stand when everyone else's is forgotten. Legends aren't remembered for what they did in their lifetimes. They're remembered for what they created that outlived them. When you create, you're building more than just wealth, more than just power. You're building a legacy that will endure, a legacy that will echo long after you're gone. And in that legacy, you'll be immortal. Most men live and die without leaving a mark. They chase fleeting desires, fight for scraps, beg for approval. And when they're gone, no one remembers their name. No one remembers their struggle, and no one remembers their victories. Their lives were empty because they never created anything that lasted. But the man who builds, he leaves behind more than just wealth. He leaves behind the empire he forged from silence, from struggle, from pain. He leaves behind a story that people will talk about long after he's gone. A legend isn't made in a lifetime. It's made in the legacy he leaves behind. You want to be remembered. Don't chase fame. Don't beg for respect. Don't live for the present. Build something that can stand the test of time. Build something that cannot be taken. Something that cannot be destroyed. Legends aren't remembered for the things they had. They're remembered for what they created. The empire that rises from the dust. The empire that survives when all the others have fallen. The savage doesn't build for himself. He builds for the future. He builds for those who will remember his name when he's gone. He builds not because he needs more, but because he knows that what he creates will outlive him, will outlast everyone. A legacy isn't just about wealth. It's about influence. It's about power that echoes through generations. It's about creating something that stands long after you've taken your last breath. Because when you build, when you create from nothing, you're writing your own history. You're carving your name into the stone, into the fabric of time. And when people look back, when they talk about those who shaped the world, they'll remember you. They'll remember the empire you built, the power you commanded, the legend you became. But to build that legacy, you can't waste time chasing approval. You can't waste time begging for attention. You can't waste time wondering if you're good enough. You don't need anyone's permission. You don't need anyone's approval. You just need to start. You need to move. You need to build. Because the legacy you leave behind is the one thing that can never be stolen. It's yours. It's the empire you created with your blood, your tears, your silence. And when it stands tall, unshakable, no one will be able to erase it. No one will be able to forget you. That's the true power of creation. Building something that lasts longer than you, longer than time. Building something that stands when the world forgets. And that is how you become a legend. She thought her goodbye would break me. She thought that leaving would bury me in silence. She thought I would beg, crawl, lose myself. But what she didn't understand was that her goodbye didn't kill me. It gave birth to something much worse. Her absence was the fire that forged me. Her betrayal was the hammer that shaped me. She thought she destroyed me, but she only created the monster who stands before you now. She didn't break me. She freed me. I didn't beg for her to stay. I didn't cry over the pieces of what we had. I didn't waste time wishing things had turned out differently. I didn't need her to validate my existence. I didn't need her approval to feel powerful. I didn't need her at all. I only needed one thing, the will to rise from the ashes she left behind. When she walked away, she thought I'd fall apart. But what she didn't see was the strength that was built in that silence. What she didn't see was the rage, the discipline, the focus, the coldness. What she didn't see was the man who stopped begging and started building. What she didn't see was the monster she created, piece by piece, scar by scar, failure by failure,